Hey guys, this is Jake from Stay Fun. Today we're going to be working on a little bit of front suspension repair because this is not supposed to move like that. Alright, let me show you a little bit about what's going on here. So if you take a look at that upper ball joint, it may look a little bit funny. That's because it came out, which is a problem. Let's see if you can see what that does when I move the tire around. That kind of movement is not acceptable. So what I'm gonna have to do is pull all that apart and try and find a replacement control arm, most likely. I'm afraid that that's gonna be a lot more damage than can be repaired. Let me get this tire out of the way, and then we'll have a little bit of room to work on something. Well, that don't look good. Guess I'll start by taking the cotter pin out, take that bolt off, and then I guess I'll probably use a bungee cord to make sure this doesn't fall over and rip the brake line or anything. Get out of there. Got it. Am I even gonna get a wrench in there? That's too loose. All right. There we go. Ta-da! Bungee cord. I might need a hammer. Just a little bit of persuasion. There we go. I didn't really try to move it all, so let's see, what can I tie it to just to be safe? Let's tie it to y'all. Yeah, it's not gonna go nowhere. Yeah, I'm fairly confident that that's gonna require a new control arm. All right, so if you look really closely, you'll be able to tell that this is all kinds of mangled up. It's not even a circle anymore. And that spells new control arm. So I'm gonna try and find one, get it shipped here. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and start on the shocks here. So shock bolt up here, it goes inside the coil spring there. 2 bolts down on the bottom. Drop the shock out, put a new shock in, bolt it all back together, and we should have a little bit more comfortable ride, especially once we don't have this ball joint that's all floppy. I'm also going to replace the shock on the other side, go ahead and put a new upper ball joint on the other side, and what else am I doing? Oh, I am going to end up replacing the brakes. So this caliper and pads, no real problems, but the driver's side is locking up on me a little bit. It's got some resistance to it. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna go, well, I don't have to, but I'm going to go ahead and replace both sides. That way I know that they've both been done at the same time with new calipers, new pads, new flex hoses. Then I don't have to worry about it in the future, because brakes are important if you didn't already know. Well, let's get that shock done. All right, so I'm not sure exactly how this works, but I guess we'll figure it out as we go along. Well, how am I supposed to hold the underside? I'm gonna assume this is how you're supposed to do this, which kind of stinks. Need a ratcheting one. Yay. Bring it down here to the underside now. All right, 1/2 inch. Well, there's the shock. I guess I don't have to take the whole bolt out. That's cool. Where'd my other bolt go? There it is. Found it. Oh. Alright. So I got the new shock next to the old shock. The new shock does just have a little bit longer casing. This one never actually compressed all the way anyways. It's rusted all the way up here for a little ways, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Alright, washer and bushing on this side like that. Let's see if we can shove it up in the hole. Need to compress it some first. Alright, got it shoved up in the hole. into that upper hole. There, I got the upper hole there. Let's see if I can keep that held in place. Long enough to get a few threads in. Threads on that side. See if we can get a few threads on the other side. Alright, lower section done. Now I just gotta put nut back on this guy. That looks pretty well centered. Alright. And then we'll put a bushing and a washer on a brand new nut. There you go. New shock installed. So maybe we'll be a little bit less bouncy. Well, that is one brand new shock installed. And as you can tell now that it's yellow, it goes inside the coil spring. That should definitely help dampen a lot of the bounciness that we were having. So let's do the other side. Went ahead and got this side jacked up, pulled the wheel off, so we can get to the shock now. I do have a brand new shock, and I've got a brake caliper and brake pads, because if you'll notice, this guy here does not spin freely. I can get it to spin, but just a little bit. Actually, I don't know if I can get it to spin anymore. There it goes. Very difficult to spin, so caliper is probably a little bit seized. So I was also thinking about replacing this ball joint here, but if you look closely, you can see it's actually welded right through there, which means in the past, it probably got replaced and they stripped the threads, so they just welded it in place. Now, the main reason I was gonna replace it was because I was worried about it being loose and stripping the threads again. So if it's already welded there, I guess I don't have to worry about it. So I'm gonna leave that one alone. I do have a new control arm for the passenger side with a brand new ball joint in it. With all the parts that I've got here, I should be able to finish this up and get it back on the road. You know, shocks, new brakes, and new control arm. Not necessarily in the plan, but hey, sometimes plans change. All right, let's get to the shock already. Woo, that's nice and worn out too. So with what I learned from the other side, this whole shock tower is gonna wanna spin when I try and take that loose. So I had to use a crescent wrench before, and I'm gonna see if I can use a ratcheting crescent. It just wants to rotate. I'll use a vice grip to hold it still. There we go. And the most annoying part is kneeling on this gravel. Seriously? Oh, the whole thing's just rotating. All right, let's see if we can fix that stuck problem. Alrighty, that's one way to get it loose. Let's get the bottom bolts out. Why didn't I do that earlier? Alright. Alright, I got a washer and a rubber, whatever it's called in there. Gotta try and compress this so that I can get the bolts to it. There we go. Alright. There we go. Now let's go get the top one done. We're gonna get started on this brake caliper now. This is the one that's actually locking up, but just to be safe, I'm gonna go ahead and replace both calipers, brake pads, and flex hoses on the driver's side here and the passenger side. Once I get both of those done and the control arm replaced on the passenger side, I'll bleed the brakes, and then I'll be able to take it out on the road and see if it's any more comfortable. Maybe that popping noise will go away in the passenger side over there. Who knows? Either way, let's get started on this guy. I got my catch can here to catch all of the mess that's about to happen, or at least some of it. I'm gonna spill it all over the place anyways, I'm sure. All right, that ought to give me some room for my tool. First things first, get this nut out. Lefty loosey. Let's pull that over there. There's two. One caliper down, and my brake pads were worn unevenly, so it's a good thing I'm replacing those. Nice new pads, semi-metallic, which was the OE spec for this one. Got a nice new caliper here. This is a one-piece caliper. That's kind of nice. It's not a one-piece caliper. I have to put the bracket piece on myself from the old one. Interesting. So I'm gonna start out by dumping the fluid out of this caliper before I start messing with it. Alrighty, let's go ahead and take this one apart. Alright, so this right here is the part I was talking about I have to pull from the old one. It's the bracketry that actually bolts to the back side of the knuckle or whatever that's called here. And apparently you don't get a new one. So this bracket here bolts onto the caliper or something like that. Brake pads will go in that location. And we'll have a set over here on this side, set over here. And then the piston will extend to squeeze them together. At least that's how it's supposed to work. This is our new caliper here. Got a new brake pad that sits against the piston there. All right, bracketry sits in about like that. That sits in there like that, and the bolts will bolt that down. There we go. That's how that goes together. Screw that down kind of loosely. And get this other side placed. Alrighty, so that's half of it kind of together. I'll take this other the other brake pad. It sits in there like that, and then we'll set it up on the rotor, bolt it to the bracket piece, get all that good stuff back together, make sure everything's tight, and replace the brake hose and stick it in there. So I'm gonna squeeze my two different pieces, squeeze those together so that the brake pad on the outside is lightly touching the rotor, and the backing piece will actually bolt into the bolts. Actually, you know what, with those like that, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten down this one here. Take this banjo bolt out because it's in my way. See, if they had just put this banjo bolt into the top instead of into the side, then you could bolt your hose down and you wouldn't be blocking this hole. I don't know. I'm not a mechanical engineer, so I don't understand how to mess things up well enough, I guess. There we go. Find my other bolt hole. See if we can get these things tightened down now. There we go. Last piece is this old brake hose. Let me get my new one out. We'll get that done. So the brake hose, the flexible brake hose here, should have a little C-clip thing on the back side here, holding it into this bracket, and that bracket just makes it so that the hard line has a physical location to reach to, so that, you know, this flex hose is flexy, this hard line is not. So if you didn't have a bracket for your flex line to hook to, then the hard line that it connects to would just be able to flex around, and that would wear out your hard line and end up with a hole. You don't want holes. So let's get a C-clip off here. Got it. This new flex hose came with a new style clamp. All right, so I do have a 3/16 line wrench. There we go. That went pretty easily. All right, out with the old and with the shiny new one. There it is. Now that I got that bolted back in, hooked up nice and solid, we can get the other side of the line reconnected to the brake caliper. Now we get to put that back in. What is nice is there's a brand new banjo bolt with brand new washers that came with the caliper. And I got brand new washers that came with the flex hose too. That's annoying. So I think I might actually take that stinking flex hose loose so I can rotate it around, so I don't have all those stresses on it. That should work right there. So I'll go ahead and tighten this back down. Actually, that's much better. A lot less stress on that flex hose. So maybe it would be best to connect the flex hose to the caliper and then into the bracket and then to the hard line. That's what we're gonna try on the other side. I'll see if that works any better. Just go into the threads. I have finally got it there. Alright, that's not cool. Doesn't line up the hole when it's right up against it. Well, I'm just gonna shave down the side of this block here so that it will fit correctly. That was a little bit better alignment, I think. I guess we'll find out pretty quick if I can thread it in or not. I think I can. I guess we'll find out if that worked or not by whether or not it leaks when I bleed it. I think that'll work just fine though, because It appears to have sealed all the way around on the copper. Brake's done. Let's go do the other side. And by other side, I mean, let's go put the control arm on and then do the brakes. So I got myself a replacement control arm with an upper ball joint already there from farfromstock.com. Kind of funny that they carry a stock part though. I guess it's not completely stock because it's a custom bent one or something, but I mean, it looks exactly the same between the one I'm holding right now and the one I'm looking at. So let's see, looks like I've got a bumper stop here that I need to pull off the old one and put on the new one. Maybe. I might just leave it, I don't know. Depends on how hard it is to get off. That was easy to get off. Go ahead and stick that on the new one. And there it is. Now I've got to take the bolts off at the back side. Should be able to pull that whole thing out, I guess, then. We'll stick the new one in with brand new bushings and brand new ball joint. Nice new nut, everything, man. Let's get that guy out. Chances of me being able to take it off without having to hold the inside bolt. What do you think? Wow, got the nut off. Get this one off now. And there it is, that one's off too. Well, that was easy. I like that. I'm gonna guess, oh, I can push them by hand. Get that bolt out, get that bolt out. This thing should just come on out here. Boom. Look at that. Now let's do a quick comparison. Yep, they look the same other than this one's all broken, this one's not. I'm gonna have to go get an alignment once I'm done with this. New bolts, washers, all that good stuff. All right, oh, let's see. Alrighty, got one bolt in. Adjustment piece on there. Lock nut. Lock washer, sorry, and nut. Let's see, let's get the other one in there. There we go. And this thing's perfectly calibrated for the torque spec of these, I guess. Yep. So now I have to take the nut off the ball joint. Maybe I should have done this before I tightened it down. I don't know. Nut and washer. You know, that blue plastic probably isn't supposed to stay on there. Just a note to y'all. Do as I say, not as I do. Pull the blue plastic off first. It's just a protective piece for shipping. Now let's try this again. There we go. Let me get my washer and my nut on the back side. I don't think I got the room to be able to use my power tools on that one. Alright, so torque spec says 70 foot-pounds for the upper. So let's go ahead and get that set here. 70 foot-pounds, here we come. There it was. There we go. Alright, now the only thing I have left to install is the cotter pin and the Zeus fitting for grease. All right, I gotta rotate. It says 70 foot-pounds and then rotate to align with next slot for cotter pin. So let's rotate a little bit. See if we can find the cotter pin slot. There it is. Oh, that is so close. Let's go just a little touch more. There we go, that fits nicely. Pull that cotter pin leg out. There we go. Last thing is installing the Zeus fitting here. And then obviously we'll have to grease it, which I should probably grease all of the fittings. Okay, that should work all right. So that's that part done. See if I can turn my wheel. Oh man, now with that tire on the ground, that's hard to turn. All right, I'm gonna go turn the wheel so I can get to this brake caliper. Alrighty, now we get to deal with this annoying brake caliper over here. Yay! There's nothing wrong with this one, but I want it to be the same as the other so that they're even. Alright, I'm gonna bring that over here, let it drip into the pan. I wonder if I could take, since this bracket still has to be bolted, I wonder if I could take this off instead. That's a thought. Let's give that thought a try. Might as well. Brackets bolt together. See if I take those two off. Then can I just lift that up, out? Hey, that wasn't bad. I wonder if that's actually how it's designed to do. Maybe. Dump all my brake fluid out of the caliper real quick. Let's see if I can go ahead and get the flex hose connected on this side. Now this caliper was actually created correctly where they lined up. So go ahead and get that tightened down. And my new brake pads, let's see. I got one that will go right in chair. Another one goes right there. So all that complaining I've been doing about Dodge, I guess isn't necessary. That's nice to know for the future though. That's a whole lot simpler than having to pull the whole bracket off like I did on the other side. So what this is all about is learning. I will provide plenty of learning opportunities for myself. Tighten this bolt down. Bam! This spins pretty all right. There's a little bit of rust, surface rust on the rotor, which is kind of that scraping noise you're hearing. Now I just got the this brake line over here to contend with. I should probably get that clip off first. I even caught it on my shirt. All right, new hose. This is a lot simpler like this. Took a minute to get it lined up, but we got her now. Well, I guess that's that. That was a whole lot easier on this side. Learn from my mistakes. Don't try to take this whole back bracket off. Just take the 2 bolts loose that hold the piston portion on, pull that guy off, and then you're right there at everything you need. Now that I got all this on, let me get a little bit of stuff cleaned up some. I'll get the tire and wheel back on, get that nice dog dish on there, set it down on the ground. I'll end up bleeding the brakes and do a little bit of admiring on it and driving. I like driving. Time for the moment of truth. It doesn't move. That's a success. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.